probably start this, should we?
Yeah, let's go.
So from what I can tell about you, there was never really another option than to make it.
Exactly. I like how you picked up on that. I don't think anybody else picked up on that.
Or you'd be pretty blind not to. Has that always been like a feeling throughout your life, do you reckon? Have you always had this sort of hunger and like need to make it, or?
Yeah, I mean, like oh my God, like just like that feeling describes like the feeling of my entire life, basically. Like every day, as long as I remember, that has been the feeling, and that is the feeling, which is pretty intense. I almost sometimes say it's like a curse, because if you don't succeed, you're like miserable. I can imagine that you'd be miserable. It's hard. Like, it actually is kind of a difficult thing when you have this like burning sensation of what you're supposed to do since you're like a kid. So, but it's also amazing because so many people don't know what they want to do, or what they're supposed to do, or what they're going to do, or what they're here to do, you know, here as in planet Earth or whatever, you know. And like, I think, yeah, since I was a kid, I just knew what, or maybe I'm just like crazy, but yeah, I just knew what I was supposed to do, what I was like born to do, and I just felt it like indescribable. I mean, there's so many things. It's just like in my dreams, even, you know, like I would dream as a kid that I was just on stage performing my songs, and like, or like, you know, I'd be like side stage at like, I have such one super vivid dream that I always remember. It was so weird. And it was like, do you know the Vamps, the band?
Yeah. Bradley Simpson. Yeah. Tell me more.
Yeah. So they were playing like, I was like a huge fan at the time, and they were like playing a show. I don't know where it was. And I was like side stage somehow. And like their guitarist broke his arm, and they were just like, oh shit,
James,
can you like come on?
James.
Yeah, so I just like, yeah, exactly. They threw James off, and then they brought me on, and then I played a song, and then Brad was like, me and Brad were sitting next to each other on like the place where the drum kit is, like where the box, just like singing a song and stuff. And he was like, yeah, man, do you want to just like play the whole show? And I was like, okay, like I'll improvise, like as long as you play the chords once before, so I know what they are. And then yeah, it was so weird. And like always, like even if it was just a dream like that, and I would always wake up and just be like, oh, that was fucking insane. There was just like that, the crowds would always be very vivid. Like I would see the people, and sometimes I would know the people in the audience, and like, yeah, a lot of dreams of like me just playing concerts. Like I had another one where I was like playing my own show in this like just massive, I remember the song that I was playing and everything, a song that like I never even brought out, but I had written it at the time, and I was just like, yeah, big audience. And this girl friend of mine, she was like, a friend of mine, sorry, not a girlfriend of mine, or a girlfriend, I suppose, was like standing in the front row. She was like singing the song, and I was like sitting on the stage, and I woke up and I was like, no, put me back in sleep. I need to experience this in real life. And I think it was just like things like that as well. You know, they just like, you can't let go of it. You can't let go of that feeling. And you just like, and you know, I think growing up, like what kind of kid you are, like, you know, some kids are like the quiet ones, some kids are the loud ones, some kids are the ones that are like on stage all the time, some kids, you know, and I was just that kid that everybody was like, he's gonna be like, I don't know, whatever. Everybody had something else to say, but it was always like, he's going to be on stage, or he's going to do something amazing, or he's going to be a star, or he's going to be like, he's just a performer, like all this kind of stuff. So I just knew that was like, I was that kid compared to everybody else, which was kind of, I was a bit of a nutcase. So
the destiny was written for you. I love that. Okay, well, I'm curious, have you set up sort of like success markers for you then? Are you good at kind of celebrating when something big happens, or are you always chasing the next thing? Because that's something that I also experience, and it's something that I've been like, wait, I need to reflect, otherwise I'm gonna die unhappy on my deathbed. Not to make it morbid, but like that's the reality of this lifestyle.
Yeah, I think like I'm not good at it. I'm not good at celebrating, and I need to do more of it, because it's just, but like you always want more. That's the problem, and it's really hard. But like we are conditioned as humans to want more, or the next thing, and like I think it's good to want more in terms of like career and life, I guess, and stuff like that. And at least it's not like I want a more expensive watch,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think like, I think it is, I actually had this conversation yesterday with a friend of mine who was like talking to me about some of the success of the new single so far. And he was like, how do you feel? And I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I'm super happy, but I'm almost like trying to remind myself like, this is crazy. Like 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, if you had a song doing this well and having this reaction that you're having of the song now, like you'd be losing your mind, like you wouldn't
Yeah.
believe it. But now it's like, I think also what I found difficult is there was a lot of things I didn't get to celebrate because of lockdown. Like I didn't get to celebrate my record deal. I didn't get to celebrate my publishing deal. Like all of those things that have been such important things to me from like my whole life that I've literally worked so hard to get. I didn't even get to celebrate them. Like I couldn't even go out for a meal on my own. I couldn't even I didn't even get to meet like half of my team on either publishing or records. Half of them are or like my entire record label is in America. Haven't been able to see them, haven't been able to move there, haven't been able, there's so much that I haven't been able to do. And so it's been quite like, it was like very overwhelming and then became underwhelming, or like almost didn't get closure kind of, because it was like, oh yeah, like I signed a record deal and I signed a publishing deal and I haven't really even celebrated. I haven't even seen my like family since. Haven't even been able to like hug my mom and be like, yeah, like I did it, like she's just like, somehow Cian is paying his bills. Like that's like the extent of like and it's weird because then it's how do you kind of move on to the next thing when you haven't even gotten to like just celebrate something so massive. And like now I'm kind of like everything is kind of feels that way sometimes, or like, but it's cool because in a way, you jump to like, once you sign a record, like before you sign a record deal and a publishing deal, like usually that's your goal. Your goal is like get noticed, and then once you're noticed, your next goal is like have a number one or like,
true. That's a big jump. That's like a big jump.
Yeah. And it's like, because anything else doesn't really like, anything else isn't like that's like the next record deal, like the next like publishing deal. That's like get your song to be like super successful, like something that you write in your bedroom, get it to be a song that millions of people want to sing. And mainly like the only reason I want to do that is because I want to be able to tour arenas and have everybody watch and sing my songs back. And so to do that, you need a big song or a top 10 or a top 20 or a big song in the US and the UK or whatever it is, like a successful song, successful record, like a really, a massive album, a big EP, like a number one album or EP or whatever, and a sold out show. Like it's all those kind of things. And some of them are kind of hard to like achieve right now, because, well, first of all, there's no live, so there's not going to be any, until I announce shows. And then yeah, it's kind of like a huge leap. Like you go from, I don't know if everybody else thinks that way, but that's like instantly what I was thinking. I was like, cool, now how do I get my song number one in the UK? How do I get like into the top 20? How do I get number one in the US? Like, what is it that I need to do? Or like top 10 or whatever. Plenty of artists are super, 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 super successful and have nearly had no number ones in their lives, or have had like one, but I think, Billie Eilish, Shawn Mendes. I think Shawn Mendes' first number one was Senorita with Camila Cabello.
Really?
And I think Billie Eilish. Yeah, and I actually don't even know if Billie's had a number one. I think Bad Guy might have been number one in the US, but that's it. And like, you think about them and they're like two of the biggest artists in the world. I don't know what Adele's stats are in the US and stuff. So it is like, it's not like, for me, I don't mean like I need a number one, like I need to have like Kid Laroi, like Can't Make a Wife Out of a Hoe. Like, I understand as well how number ones work nowadays. It's very different to like how it used to be. It's a lot of like hype and TikTok and like stuff like that. But I think it's more having a really successful record that allows you to have the touring life that you want to have, like because that's what it's all about in the end. Like it's about playing live, about touring.
Well, I think you're right in saying that playing the long game, it's the songs that people remember, right? Like if you don't have that authenticity in your music, then you're not going to be remembered for that. And that's something that really strikes me about your music is your honesty. And particularly in your most recent single, Know Me Again with Cate, like there are some lyrics in there that absolutely like kicked me in the guts multiple times. Like that line, I'm going to read it because I don't want to butcher it. Funny how you gave me more of a chance when you didn't know me more than a first glance. Now that you know me, you choose not to love me at all. That was like, oh, damn. Like I hit pause. I was like, oh, whoa. What's it like penning lines like that? And I'm also curious, because obviously they're about specific people. Do you let those people in on it before you release the song, or do they reach out to you after it's released? Tell me about it and coming from such like an honest space.
I think there's there's multiple levels to it. Like writing lyrics is like that is a lot of the time it just kind of happens. Like it's just like the line that kind of comes like simply. It's not even, I think for me, it's not like thought about a lot of the time too much. I just kind of say what I mean or what I want to say. But I think like that song's really interesting because for Cate and I, it's about two completely different things. And it's really interesting because you can listen to it in so many different ways, which is the art of music. I think when we started writing it, it was more, it was kind of something that Cate was experiencing or had experienced. And she was almost writing it in the way that like she got to know somebody or somebody got to know them so well that they almost got to know her in the wrong way. And she wished they could go back and get to know each other in a different way, you know?
That's heartbreaking in itself.
Yeah, of course. And I think for me, it wasn't until, because the song took some time, like it kind of had like a few moments that we kind of wrote it, left it, and rewrote like some of the parts. And I'd been in like a 5-year relationship that ended. And like, I just remember rediscovering the song and just like crying and being like, oh my God, this is what it means. Like, it was so strange because I never ever write a song without it really, really meaning something. And I think that's probably why I just kind of left it aside, because it was this like amazing song, but I was like, I don't really understand where it came from in me. I was kind of writing like out of sort of, sometimes I write like in the context of if I lost you, like if we broke up, like if, and so like, but sometimes I don't really feel too much attached to that sometimes, or if I've done it already once, which I did with my song All That I Know that was on the mixtape, I find it hard to do it again. And I think it wasn't until my relationship ended and I listened to it that I was like, oh my God, what, like, I was just like in bits. I was like, oh, this means something completely different now. And we sat down and like rewrote the first verse and stuff a few times, and like it's heavy. And like I think for me, like I don't know if my ex has ever, I don't know if she's heard it now. I don't think she would reach out. I think she probably heard it when I had originally written it while we were still together. I think I probably played it for her a few times and stuff, but which is kind of weird. But yeah, I don't really know. I think it's like, I mean, I think about that sometimes. I'm like, I wonder, do the people I write the songs about, like, do they know? And I think about all the other artists. I'm like, shit, like that's kind of it's a scary thing every time. Like, we're not usually like this. Like that was very straight up, like, and same with like Crocodiles. Like I knew that everybody who I wrote that about, people were going to see that.
Was that about people you were living with, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was pretty, like,
that's not about
hard
Cate,
to hide.
Because you
No,
live
no,
with
it's
Cate.
not.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
That's
I've
what I
lived with
thought.
Cate.
That's what I thought. You guys are a good
It
test.
was about boys, like we're guys.
Okay.
So I think it's like, but you know, like that is music. Like that's the beauty and that's the art and that's what you just have to do. Or like otherwise, what's the point? Like, what are you writing if you're too scared to like tell the stories and put it into music and turn something painful into something beautiful? And you just kind of get a bit of closure because you're like, oh yeah, that's how I feel. And then you're like, see you later. I'll move on. But I think, yeah, once it goes out in the world, for me, it's like, how do other people, I really think about others at that point then, about how they'll feel about the song in terms of like making it their own and making it their own story and like hearing, you know, I think everybody, whenever I would listen to a song and I was heartbroken, like I'd listen to a song and I'd think of somebody, you know, and I want to do that. I want everybody who listens to the song to just think of that person that broke their heart, and like whether it helps them process it or just helps them be emotional about it or let something out or figure it out in their head or just feel like they're not alone, you know, in that pain, which everybody experiences. I think that's the most special part.
And as you said it before, as you're writing it, it like solidifies how you're feeling. So for people to listen, they get that same response, you know? That's exactly how I feel. It's holding a reflection up to society. Cian, this is such a poignant note to end on, but it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. And I feel like I could probably talk to you for a whole other half hour, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
When's the EP out?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, well, when it's out, we'll do a whole other half hour or an hour.
In the fall or something. I don't even know what fall is, but that's what everybody calls it in other countries. So
not mine.
We don't say that in Ireland, I don't know if people say fall in the UK as well, but I'm guessing that's like September, October. I don't know. To be honest, I don't want to lie, but there's a lot of music, I have so many songs that are just like so important to me. So it's like so hard to choose what to put on the track list, but we will get there eventually.
And I can't wait to see it, knowing you will have really fine-tuned all of these tracks.
Thanks.